How do I quit smoking? How do I quit drinking alcohol? How do I quit sugar? How do I quit porn? These are all common searches amongst a range of men and different women across the world. But one search that has become more and more common nowadays is how do I quit porn? If you've never been addicted to porn, this video is probably not going to resonate with you and it's probably not worth your time watching it. But if you have been addicted to porn or have ever watched pornography in your life, this video you'll probably resonate with every single word. I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable position opening up about this subject that a lot of people won't talk about because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But I believe it's for the greater good, and I believe it's very important for me to get it off my chest exactly what I've been through, and hopefully for you, if someone who is struggling to overcome an addiction yourself, whether that be porn or whether that be something else in your life, this video will be very helpful to you. I first started watching porn when I was around 13 years old, and this carried on for almost up to now, around 10 years. I'm 23 now for context, almost 24. And I remember first discovering it around 13, 14 years old, and it was just a normal thing, something that every young person, especially young men, would do with their spare time every single day. And this is something that subconsciously becomes implanted in your mind as something that we just do every single day. And this is how it was for years and years on end. And you think about that, I've done it, you do this every single day. It's very hard to kind of unwire your brain to form new paths inside your mind to be like, okay, well, I don't do this now, we do these good habits or whatever it may be. And for me, I look at any type of addiction as doing something that you have no control of. You know it's bad, but you still do it anyway. It's kind of the counter to being disciplined, in my opinion. And I see this with my porn addiction. I discovered NoFap that a lot of people did around 19, 20 years old. I think it was during lockdown. I was wasting a lot of time then. I was still being a degenerate really in general. I was wasting a lot of time playing video games, just not doing anything productive, not having any identity, what I wanted to do with my life, not into fitness, not into entrepreneurship, not into anything to kind of better myself, didn't really know anything about self-improvement, any of this stuff. And I remember being on PlayStation playing Call of Duty or something along those lines, and someone mentioned NoFap, and I thought, this is a load of rubbish, like there's no truth in this whatsoever. Just like kind of any NPC would tell you that, you know, it's actually quite good for you, you know, you need to do it, you need to masturbate and do all of this stuff, which I now know is one of the worst things you could possibly do, and castrate yourself. But once I discovered more about NoFap and porn and what it was actually doing to my body and mind and soul, I realised this is one of the worst things I could possibly be doing to myself. And I actually did quite well straight away. I remember discovering this and going on quite a long streak, 30, 40, 60 days without watching porn, without masturbating, and I felt very, very good. And I was like, okay, this stuff actually works. And I'd tell people, I'd tell my friends, and at this point a lot of people were still very much skeptical and be like, you know, I've seen these studies and I believe that you still got to do it and it's not causing me any harm and what blah blah blah. We've all heard it all before. And I got to this point where I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't. I'm seeing the impact, the benefits to my life when I'm not doing this. I was getting into self-improvement. I was starting to do some good habits, and I saw my life was starting to finally get better for once. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then I'd do it again. It'll be 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, relapse, over and over again. And you probably can resonate this. You've probably seen a similar pattern in your life and be like, okay, I'm trying to quit. I really don't want to do this, whether it be porn or anything like this, drinking, smoking, anything like this. A lot of people end up relapsing, and it can take a very long time. It can take years for you to fully quit. And that's not an answer that people on the internet will truly want you to hear, because they believe they can sell you something on how to quit something today. But this is beside the point. And I just want to speak again about how bad it is for me and how it did really ruin my life. And I want you to take bits from this video in order for you to quit your addiction. And I think there's two ways to look at this. You look at this and think, okay, what is my life now, and what will it be like if I continue to live this lifestyle, whether it be this type of addiction or another type of addiction, or just you kind of going along this path that you know you don't really want to do, and it's not getting you to where you actually want to be in your life. What is your life going to look in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? Are you going to achieve those things that you truly want to achieve? Are you going to have those things? Are you going to have a wife? Are you going to have a kids? Are you going to have a business? Are you going to be in your top physique, both mentally and physically? Because I can guarantee you that you won't be. No one who is addicted to porn and masturbating goes on to achieve anything remarkable with their life. Their life at absolute best will be very mediocre, and a lot of young men have very poor life qualities because of addictions such as porn. And like I say, I'd go back 3, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, and I actually read a really good book, and I have it next to me right now, called Your Brain on Porn. And I remember reading this and I was like, you know what, I really started to understand how this was really affecting my mind. And I can open a page right now and I'll just tell you a story of someone who's had a bad experience with porn. And it won't take me very long to find this because there's so many people. I always open several windows in my browser, each one with many tabs. The main thing that aroused me is novelty, new faces, new bodies, new choices. I was rarely even watched a whole porn scene and can't remember when I saw an entire movie. Too boring, I always wanted new stuff. I'm not asexual strictly speaking, as I still find women beautiful, but I'm no longer attracted to them, either sexually or romantically, though I consciously know they are attractive. Do you guys get that painful feeling when you look at a hot girl? You would like to be turned on, but you just can't. It makes me angry. Before starting porn at 15, I was extremely horny, and I would chase anything on 2 legs. I made out with girls and got instant boners. After porn ruined me, I was completely disinterested in girls and could never maintain an erection. At my young age, I know there was something definitely wrong with me because I'm supposed to be woman crazy like I used to be before porn. At 17, I began my reboot. Yesterday, I successfully had sex with no ED drugs and my boner was amazing. These are very in detail subjects that people go on and can be very graphic, and to a normal person, they probably don't really want to hear about these things. But to a lot of people who are familiar with porn and familiar to the impacts it's had on their life, you'll understand the types of stories that people have been through and how it has negatively impacted their lives in one way or another. And like I say, I felt that I was not becoming that person that I would want to become. I would look at myself in the mirror and I'd feel a massive sense of shame and guilt that I could only portray that back to me because I knew I was the person doing this and that I knew this was bad and I was still doing it anyway. And there's no other way for me to make this feel any better for myself. And for me, how can you actually quit? How do you quit? Do you just quit one day and then suddenly everything becomes easy? For me, that's not the answer. That's not the way you're going to quit porn. It's not the way you're going to quit any type of addiction. You need to slowly reduce the amount you're doing this and try your absolute best every single day to not do this. And the way you need to do this is by filling that void in time where you usually sit there, watch porn and masturbate for however long and do something productive with your life, even if this thing is maybe not the best thing for you. For example, you could play video games or do something that, you know, maybe still somewhat of a bad habit, but you know is not going to have the long-term impacts that pornography is having on your life, and also you are weaning away from this addiction and that you're not doing that bad habit for any longer. And then you can then go on to this and hopefully start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can start to move on to better habits. You can start going to the gym, into fitness, reading, doing stuff to better your mental and physical health, and becoming a lot prouder of yourself because you're actually doing something that's very, very challenging. And like I say, this is something that's taken me years and years to still overcome. And even now, I'm not going to say I've fully 100% overcome it and I'd never ever watch it ever again, because I'm not that naive, and I know the rabbit holes that you can go down, and I know how many times I've had to get myself back up and thinking, you know what, I've overcome it now. I'm a changed man. I can do all of this. I'm never ever going to go back to it. I've gone back to it time and time again, so I know what it's like, and I know if you're watching this, you will feel you will feel this too. And you start to see that with the relationships you have. I remember when I was doing it a lot of the time, I'd see the relationships I have, they would not be how I want them to be. I would not get the women in my life that I would want to get because of this. And some people might say this is a mindset issue, but I believe that as long as you are addicted to something like this, you will not achieve that, and you will not get the things that you truly desire, the things that will actually make your life blissful and fulfilled and actually get you to where you want to be in life. That's not going to happen until that day comes where you are fully removed from these vices of your life. And you need to think about that. You need to think, how do I truly want my life to look? If I continue like this, I'm going to end up like all these guys subscribing to OnlyFans, watching porn every day, staying in their parents' basements, not doing anything productive with their lives. And their life is slowly, you're going to be 30, 40 years old, looking yourself in the mirror and be like, fuck, all that time is gone now. And I'm still the same guy I was when I was masturbating at 18, 21. And I'm truly trapped now. I'm not going to escape this vice forever. And that's such a sad thought, that so many young guys will never escape this vice for their whole life, and they'll be trapped, and they will never realize or reach their full potential because they're addicted to something so harmful to their brain and body and mind. And that's why I really wanted to make this video for you, because like I say, it's not nice really for me to talk about this and to say, you know, I've been addicted to porn for a decade and it's something that's ruined my life. I'd spend hours and hours watching porn over and over again. And like I say, I don't really want to share this, but I feel it is very important for you to understand that there's a lot of people out there from all different backgrounds that have been addicted to something like this, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you have to start somewhere. You have to start to slowly reduce the amount of content you are consuming and start to fill those voids in your life and truly get crystal clear on what you want on your life, and make sure that you obtain that, as your life will stay the same, and you'll never reach that blissful life that you could have, whatever that is for you. You define that for yourself. But if you want something truly good and remarkable, and something that would actually bring you a lot of happiness in your life, it's just not going to happen till you quit. And that's something that I really want you to take from this video. You can sit there tonight, you might watch this video and it might give you get you hyped up, release a bit of dopamine, and be like, you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm going to leave a comment on this video and say I'm never going to do it again. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, relapse. I've been there. I've watched all these videos before. You have to make that change. Don't just get on with it and do it every single day. Make sure you're working towards that. Try your best to actually get crystal clear, get a pen and paper out on how you're going to do this, and make sure that you're filling those voids in your life, and think, okay, what will my future self want? What will I do if I continue the habits that I continue to do today? Where will my life look in 5-10 years? Let's think about that. Take some time today to really think about that, and think, are you doing the right things to make sure that you get to that lifestyle? And if you're not, it's time to make a change, because I don't want to see you down. I don't want to see it for me. It was the hardest period of my life, which I really didn't like at all. I didn't like the person who I was when I looked in the mirror. I didn't like the things that I was doing. Yeah, it really has negatively impacted my life, and maybe I'll make another video on this at some point in the future. But whether it's porn, whether it's anything other addiction, yeah, you can escape this, and I really hope the best for you, and I hope you can take some lessons from this video in order to embrace your life and to build a better future for yourself, because it's definitely possible for you and everyone out there. So yeah, I hope this video has helped. If you need any more guidance on addiction or anything else in your life, my one-to-one personal coaching link will be in the description. If you can like and subscribe, that'll be very much appreciated. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.